5:39 on November the 17th of 2022. Remote location is Terrebonne Parish. Are you Mr. Javonte Wells?
Yes, sir.
Wells, is there anyone from staff at Terrebonne in there with you?
Yes, sir.
Would that person introduce themselves, or if it's more than one, would they please introduce themselves for the record?
Warden Russell Hornsby. I'm behind the screen.
Thank you, Warden Hornsby. We appreciate you identifying yourself. Mr. Wells, would you give us your full name and DOC number?
Javonte Wells. Javonte Terrell Wells. My DOC number is 657891.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. File. Mr. Wells, I want to explain our process to you. I'm going to read some information into the record, and then the board is going to conduct a parole interview with you.
Okay.
Once that interview is done, you'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to the board, then we'll vote. You understand our procedure?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Javonte Wells, DOC number 568791, date of birth May 5th of 1992. Mr. Wells is second felony offender with a parole eligibility date of December the 15th of 2022, adjusted good time date of 12/22/23, and a full term date of December the 16th of 2024. Is currently serving an 8-year sentence on the charges of aggravated assault with a firearm. Is that basically correct, Mr. Wells?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wells, your case has been assigned to Bonnie. Your case has been assigned to Ms. Bonnie Jackson. Please answer any questions she might have.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Wells, good afternoon.
Oh, good.
Mr. Wells, you're 30 years old, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were revoked on your probation or your parole, correct?
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
And it was an aggravated assault with a firearm, and you got revoked in 2017, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How much time, how long have you been in jail? Total on
6 years.
what I'm showing, and you got an 8-year sentence, is that right? Okay. The victim was your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't have to help me understand what was going on with you that would cause you to respond that way with your mom. So explain to me why you did this.
My mother and my best friend father was having an affair, and I so happened to walk up and call him the night of it, and I just lost control.
Okay. Is your mother married to your father?
No, ma'am.
So your mom is single, is that correct?
Well, she was married, but they not together. She was married to another man.
All right. So was she married to this other man when this incident occurred?
Yeah, but they were split up.
Okay. Again, why would that cause you to lose control?
I don't know. I've never seen like my mom, and you know that's like my best friend father. Like I don't know. Like I got emotional and like I just reacted.
Okay. Was your best friend father's married?
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you were placed on probation for the charge, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you end up getting revoked? I see that you were arrested in Texas for absconding. So tell us what happened with that.
Well, they had absconded me when I went up for I stopped going to see my probation officer. My brother had went to jail for murder, so I went on a run, and I had gotten in some trouble in Texas, so I ran to Texas.
Okay. Your brother got arrested for some murder charges, and you went on the run?
Yeah, because they thought I did it, but they didn't know who did it. So I just got scared and left.
So you weren't involved at all in that crime?
No, ma'am.
You were arrested for that crime?
No, ma'am.
So why did you think you'd be charged if you didn't have anything to do with it?
Because at the time frame, they didn't know who did it. They just said a person with dreads, and me and my brother both matched the same description.
Well, a lot of people have dreads.
I know.
I'm just trying to understand why, if you had nothing to do with this homicide, why your response was completed.
Yeah, because St. Charles, how they had it, they didn't know which person did it. That's why they thought I did it. Then they thought my brother did it. Then the witness came and told them who did it. But
Because
no,
the evidence should have shown who did it, so.
yeah,
you
my
had-
police officer already put the warrant out for me. So
But that was for fleeing to Texas.
yeah,
that's-
no, that was way before I had flee to Texas. He had a warrant out for my arrest for absconding already. But not showing probation and all that.
Why did you stop showing up for probation and parole?
Because all that happened at the same time, around the same time.
So when did you abscond?
Man,
What year?
16.
And when did the murder happen?
16.
And how long were you in Texas before you were arrested and returned to Louisiana?
I was in Texas for like 4 months. I had got caught November 17th today, matter of fact.
How did they end up located? What caused you to get caught in Texas?
I don't know. Somebody told us something. I don't know what happened. But the U.S. Marshals had caught.
Okay. And they brought you back and they booked you for a probation warrant, is that correct?
Probation and a gun charge or something. They threw out.
And why would you have a gun charge? Where did the gun charge come from?
That's what they said. They had a gun charge on me. It had a lot of charges on me, but I don't know what. A lot of charges got dropped, and I just copped out to the probation. They dropped my 10-year sentence to 8, and I just pleaded guilty.
So where have you served most of your time?
St. Charles. I got here June 7 or something, June 6th. And during that time, I've been on trustee for like 2 years. I did road crew for like a year, and now I've been on work release 9 months with no write-up. I got all my good time from St. Charles.
What kind of work release job do you have?
I work in the ice factory in Kenner, Louisiana. They trained me to be a supervisor right now. That's how much they like me.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes, man. So I got a good job if I get up.
They promise you a job if you get out.
Yeah.
Where do you plan to live and with whom?
I'm planning on living with my sister until I get everything together and try to find myself my own apartment. But I got a for sure job when they get out, and I'm going back to it.
I see you have 360 days of credits and classes. What
Yes.
classes have you taken?
I took my GED. I got reentry, inner healing, and I just took I forgot the name of the class, but it's tell you how to keep a job.
Okay. Well, what class or program did you do you believe helped you the most?
Helped me the most. I think reentry, because it showed me like a lot of different ways and alternatives I could take within life, and like how to deal with a lot of stuff. instead of
And how long,
using.
okay, how long, tell me again, how long you've been in the transitional work program?
9 months.
9 months, okay? And they want to keep you at that job, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you using drugs or alcohol before coming to prison?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us a little bit about what you were using,
Well,
how often you
I-
were using.
I popped a lot of ecstasy on, and I smoked weed.
Okay. When did you first start? How old were you when you first started using drugs?
I had to been like 12,
I'm sorry,
12 years old.
as a 12-year-old start using drugs.
I don't know, watching my older cousins and stuff, I started smoking weed then.
When did you go to ecstasy?
Probably when I turned like 21, when I started going clubbing, about the clubs and stuff.
Were you, when you were on probation, were you ordered to go to substance abuse treatment?
Did I what?
When you were on probation for the charge, were you ordered as a condition of your probation to seek substance abuse treatment?
Oh, no, ma'am. I had to take an anger management class.
Okay. Nobody knew you were using ecstasy?
No, ma'am.
Never came up?
No, no drug test, none of that.
Did you take any kind of substance abuse classes while you've been incarcerated?
No. I
Why
think
not?
reentry had that in there. Yeah, reentry had that in there.
I know, but I meant a standalone substance abuse program.
No, ma'am.
Ah,
I wasn't on, she had had me eligible for that. She had, Miss Henderson had me placed in other classes.
well, is that, did you tell her I have a drug, I was using a
Yeah,
lot of drugs?
she did an interview, we tell us all that.
Did you tell them that?
Yes, ma'am.
And they didn't think you needed to be placed in substance abuse treatment?
Not really, cause I'm not with that no more. Like my life changed. Like I don't think for myself anymore. I have a daughter, so what's best for her is for me to stay out. So all that.
Okay, I understand that, I do, I hear what you're saying. But if it was just that easy, if it was just that easy, we wouldn't have any addicts. If it was just that easy, most people don't want to be addicts. But once it gets you, it's got you.
I know. I seen it.
And you can't will it not to happen again. You've got to have some tools in place to keep yourself from falling back with old people, old habits. Things get stressful. We want to go back to what we know to relieve stress. And while I believe that you do want to refrain from doing that, the reality is most people can't do it without a lot of help.
Right.
It's when you think you've got it, it's when you're most likely to fail. People who succeed are the ones who understand this is a problem for me. It's going to be a problem for me the rest of my life. And I've got to make sure I'm doing some things to make sure I don't fall back into those old habits. The people who think they got it, they don't have it. And I hope you understand that.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of, do they have substance abuse programs where you are right now, where you're housed right now?
I don't know.
Didn't even bother to check?
No, ma'am.
And there's no one in the room?
No, I work 12 hours, so I'm only free on weekends.
I understand that, but you know, a lot of times people think work is the cure for addiction, but it's not. And when you choose work over dealing with addiction, then you're not gonna have a job very long because the addiction is gonna win out. You need to understand that. Is Warden in the room?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what kind of substance abuse programs are offered at your facility?
Because of Hurricane Ida, we are in the process of rebuilding our facility. The administration side is in the facility now, but the offender side is still being worked on. Because of that, we are unable to offer classes in the work release program. Once we are completely in here with the administration and offenders, we will have those classes back up and running. We have tried to offer classes. In the meantime, unfortunately, not a lot of our offenders are eligible for the classes DOC is giving them. And we tried it, and DOC has, I say DOC, we've talked to Ms. Henderson several times. There's only 1 or 2 people eligible for a class a week. And it didn't work out with us having them where the offenders are now.
Well, what can you tell us about Mr. Wells?
As he said, he's only started here in June of this year. We've had absolutely no complaints about him. In fact, this morning was the first time I've had to meet him, which is a good thing because he continues to work. There's been no issues or write-ups on his behalf. All of our COs have had nothing bad to say about Mr. Wells. He appears to be a hard worker, shown by where he is at getting a supervisor's possible position.
All right. Thank you very much, Warden.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Marabella, that's all I have.
Thank you. Wells, is there anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
Thank you for your time. I'm grateful that I had this chance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wells. Now ready to vote?
I'd like to ask for an executive.
Okay.
A second. I'll roll. Sorry.
Executive session. Please call the roll.
Our names.
Tony Marabella.
Yes.
Parole.
Yes.
Mr. Wells, we're going to take a short recess to go into executive session to discuss matters of confidential nature. We will resume this hearing in just a few moments, okay?
Okay.
All right, typically these go by fast, but we'll see what we can touch on here. Years for aggravated assault. So he walked in on his mother with his best friend's father and lost it. And I can only imagine that he probably has had just, it's an accumulation of drugs and maybe just pent up frustration. Basically everything all lining up for that moment of walking in on his mother with his best friend's father, and having a weapon and having drugs. That's the result you're going to get, really. I don't know what he did to her, aggravated assault, but I guess that means he hurt her. And then the situation where his brother murdered someone and he ran. I don't know if there's this, I totally can see why an innocent person would run in that case. So I don't feel like I can say, oh, he was definitely guilty and got away with it. You're young. You don't want to, I think you had a warrant anyways for him. You don't want to go to jail, and it's just easy to run. But I'm not going to jump to the conclusion that he had anything to do with it. So what do you all think? You think he's going to get out? I can't imagine that he would. I can only see that they're going to try to get it. But now we have where he is, there's no programs because they're rebuilding it, right? Who knows how much, so much of this is just a money scheme, and who knows how much money they got. Oh, here we go.
Committee's back in session. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yeah.
Ms. Jackson?
Mr. Wells, I'm really struggling here. I really, truly am struggling here. There are a number of reasons why I could vote to deny you.
Yes, ma'am.
On different supervision, you have a moderate risk score, but you have served 6 years of an 8-year sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
You're in a place where you're doing well as far as your job is concerned. And apparently they think well enough of you to train you to be a manager. And so that speaks well of you. The main issue that I have is you seem to have a lack of awareness about your substance abuse issues. Everybody we talk to think, I'm not going to get out there and do it again. But they almost always do if they don't have the right tools in place. But I'm willing to take a chance on you, Mr. Wells. My vote today would be to grant your early release, and the condition of parole are that you're to enroll in and complete Celebrate Recovery.
Okay.
You're also to attend at least 2 AA meetings per week for the duration of your supervision, and obviously submit to urine screens as directed by your parole officer. You said you've already completed anger management, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's my vote, but I'm just one vote.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Wise?
Young man, I too have really wrestled with this. The story behind the story does change the story. And I'm inclined to agree with my colleague. My vote is the same. Because of your poor supervision, I would like for you to report weekly to probation parole for the first 4 weeks after you get out. I want you to get acclimated to your officer and be on the same team. You don't call the warden comments, no write-ups, and the time served. Best wishes to you, sir.
Mr. Wells, you have 2 votes to grant your parole. I agree with my colleagues. Your parole has been granted today with the following conditions. 1, you enroll and complete the Celebrate Recovery program, that you do 2 AA meetings per week, and you submit to random drug and alcohol testing, and that you report weekly to your parole supervisor for the first month.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll be adjourned at Terrebonne Parish. Warden, thank you very much for your help.
Thank y'all. Y'all take care.
Okay, I mean, that seemed like the right move, if you ask me. 2 AA meetings, of course. It's not clear to me, does he get out and while he's out go there, or does he get transferred somewhere? That part is not clear to me. If everyone knows, please put it in the comment section. I do wonder how it would help. And he didn't seem that excited about it either. But it seems like a long time, 8-year sentence. And I like that the story behind the story. I mean, I don't know what he did to his mother. So I guess without those details, it's just not worth commenting on it. But getting 8 years for a domestic aggravated assault just does seem really intense. Unless I'm missing something, is it because he absconded on bail? Is that why it happened? But okay, I'd love to hear your comments on that. Thank you for all the support, continued support, and have a great weekend.